in Kanda, Accra. I am Wendy Lai. Your headlines for this afternoon. Malaria continues to top OPD cases in most health facilities. We will tell you more as Ghana joins the world to mark Malaria Day. 23 private senior high schools fold up owing to the free SHS policy. And former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni accounts freezed. On the foreign front, mass graves discovered in Rwanda 24 years after the country's genocide left about 800,000 people dead. So we've got details of these stories and many more, including sports and entertainment, coming up shortly. Let's start with one of our very first story. And TV3 has gathered the bank accounts of ex-Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni have been frozen again by the Economic and Organized Crimes Office following another court order. Consequently, the investigative body has written to Standard Chartered Bank and EcoBank to freeze the accounts again following the court's granting of an ex-parte motion filed by Iyoku. An Accra High Court on Monday ordered Iyoku to release the assets of the former Ghana Cocoa Board CEO. It would be recalled that Iyoku embargoed the assets of Dr. Opuni, including his bank accounts, in February 2017 at the start of a probe into his tenure as Cocoa Board boss. But Dr. Opuni filed a suit at the court demanding the accounts be released. The court granted the request on Monday, but it was overturned the following day. Dr. Opuni and businessman Seidu Agono are facing 27 charges of willfully causing financial loss of 217 million cedis to the state through 3 separate fertilizer supply contracts between 2014 and 2016. And following up the story, we do have lawyer Edwoji Tamaklo. He's a member of the Dr. Opuni's legal team. Good afternoon, lawyer, and thanks for agreeing to speak with us.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your cherished viewers.
Now, can you confirm the receipt of an order from the High Court freezing Dr. Stephen Opuni's account again?
No, we've not been notified.
Can you speak up a bit for me, lawyer, please?
No, I'm saying that we have not been notified of any such order.
So as it stands, nothing of that sort has happened?
No, we've not been notified. And let me quickly say that it will be a bit bizarre for an order freezing the account again, because on Monday we were in court with the lawyers of EOCO, and they told the court that they were not opposed to the application we filed. In fact, they indicated, and as the records will show, we filed this thing on the 13th of April. It was served on them, because it was a Friday, it was served on them on Monday the 16th. Monday the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, to 23rd when they came to court. They never filed any process in opposition. So the judge, even in court, after we moved the application, cited all the authorities. When the lawyer for EOCO said they were not opposed, the judge even felt that, if this was the case, why did you even allow us to go through almost 40-something minutes, trying to, explain the legal basis why the order should be vacated? So all of these things had happened on the Monday. So I am just thinking, what would be the legal basis that the judge, the same court or whatever, would grant another order when the same person less than 24 hours was before the...
Lawyer, I want to find out from you if you've indeed reached out to the court to find out if this has happened or not?
You say?
Yes.
Hello?
Can you hear me, lawyer?
Yes, I can.
Now I'm asking that, have you followed up with the court after this news broke to find out if indeed this has happened or not?
We are to be served with anything flowing from the court. And like I've indicated to you, no such process has been served on us. And I'm even saying that, assuming, what would be the basis? When less than 24 hours,
so are you waiting to be served? Is that the case?
Oh yes, as for us, what else can we do? Assuming that there exists any such thing, all we have to do is to wait for it to be served on us.
So on that basis, can you still say that this has not happened if you rightly indicated that you are waiting, but you have also not followed up with the court?
It is not for us to follow up to the court. The last process we filed before the court, like I indicated to you, was moved on the 23rd, and there was an order that was served on the banks. So if the status quo has changed, we have to be notified.
All right. Well,
I'll be surprised that the thing was done ex parte. We did it on notice to them.
Well, thank you so much for your time. You're still watching Midday Live. And let's move on to other stories. Ghana is spending 190. Let's move on to some other stories now. And Ghana is spending 199 million Ghana. That's 199,800,000 cedis in this year's fight against malaria. Programs manager for the National Malaria Control Program, Dr. Kezia Mom, says this is part of interventions towards elimination of the disease. She explains Ghana has so far been able to achieve a 90% reduction of malaria deaths. This is to mark the World Malaria Day, which falls today.
For malaria, usually the interventions are multi-pronged. You can't use one thing because I've been saying the mosquitoes are smart, the parasites are smart. So we need additional tools. But the NETS has brought us this far. If you look at globally in Africa and Ghana, we've seen reductions. In Ghana, for instance, we've seen over 90% reduction in deaths. We've seen a reduction in our parasite levels. In 2011, our parasite levels in children under 5 was around 27%. In 2016, it's around 20%. And that is a significant reduction because it's not easy to get the parasite levels down. And it's just these tools that we have. But we need additional tools. But even these tools that exist have been used by countries like Zanzibar, like Cape Verde, and they've seen great improvements. They are almost at elimination. In 2000, we had, if you take about 100 people who had malaria or 1,000 people who had malaria, about 140 of them were dying from malaria. In 2017, if you take 100 people, you get only 2 people dying from malaria. So that is an impact. We know what we still haven't been able to achieve is the reduction in the malaria cases. And it's one of the factors is because not all people are testing, but we are getting there. So that is where we need to wake up to ensure that the transmissions go down. This year we are doing a mass campaign where we'll be distributing 15 million nets throughout the country. Next year is not a mass campaign, it's every 3 years. So next year is antenatal clinics and child welfare clinics. So the number of nets in a year differ depending on the strategy for that year, and therefore the cost would differ. 15 million nets this year, it costs us roughly $3 a net.
And still on World Malaria Day, malaria continues to top OPD cases recorded in health facilities in the Ashanti region. Health authorities, however, say they have made strides in the past 3 years to reduce such malaria cases. As we join the rest of the world to mark that very day, Ashanti regional correspondent Beatrice Pio-Gabra speaks to the Deputy Director of Health in charge of public health on efforts to further decrease the figures.
As we mark World Malaria Day, how would you describe Ashanti region so far as malaria cases are concerned?
So far, I would say it is not bad for Ashanti region. For the past years, we have been fighting malaria in various ways. The first and foremost is the long-lasting insecticide-treated nets, which we are supplying to communities. Apart from that, the other thing that we are doing is that right now, every pregnant woman who reports to antenatal clinic to register, you are given a net, insecticide-treated net. And when a child reaches the age of 1 year, 6 months and visiting the child welfare clinic, is given net. We are also doing preventive treatment of malaria for pregnant women, where pregnant women are given some drugs against malaria, SP, 3 to 5 times during the pregnancy, so that if it happens to get malaria, then it will be treated. We admit those which are severe malaria, and we can say that people who get severe malaria are mostly children under 5 years, pregnant women. So if you go into statistics for the past 3 years, 2015, 2016, 2017, those who had to go for admission because of severe malaria under 5, we had 43,280 in 2015. But in 2016, we had 37,787. And then in 2017, we had 35,000, which means it has been reducing. But a significant achievement is the malaria deaths, which normally happens in children. In 2015, we had 80 malaria deaths under 5s, which died because of malaria. But in 2016, we had 51, which was a good achievement. And last year, the whole year, only 17 children died from malaria.
So finally, what is your advice to us as residents or citizens in preventing malaria cases?
I will encourage you to use the mosquito nets that we are giving. We have noticed that some of them will collect the nets and they don't use it. They just dump it in their rooms. It is very, very effective, and therefore we encourage you to use it. Pregnant women, make sure that you report to the clinic. If you take the seed and you report, ask for a mosquito net.
Thank you very much. That was the Ashanti Regional Deputy Director of Health Services in charge of public health, Dr. Yebua Ewudzi, giving us how Ashanti region is faring so far as malaria is concerned. And the key advice is that we should all sleep under the treated mosquito net. Beatrice Piogabra, TV3, Kumasi.
So you've watched and seen the interventions and strides made when it comes to the national picture and also that of the Ashanti region, and some measures that have also been put in place to eliminate malaria, reduce it as well in this country. First, let's look at some statistics. And first of all, the 2016 Ghana Malaria Indicator Survey indicates that prevalence among children under age 5 decreased from 27% to 21%. The Eastern region has the highest rate of malaria prevalence among children, which is 31%. Greater Accra recorded the lowest rate of malaria prevalence, which is 5%. And let's look at some more still on malaria. And more than 7 in 10 households own treated nets, compared to 31% in 2008 and 64% in 2014. And rural children are more likely to be infected with malaria than in urban children. And also reduction in malaria mortality from 3,882 in 2010 to 1,264 in the year 2016, translating into a 67% of reduction. So to make it clearer to you, 2016 saw a 67% of reduction in the Ghana Malaria Indicator Survey that was done countrywide. You still watching Middaylive. Away from malaria, a standard operating procedure has been launched to help track and identify human trafficking victims. Statistics indicates that 1 out of 3 persons trafficked to Europe or other developed countries either to engage in prostitution or domestic servitude.
Ghana remains a destination for human trafficking. Adults and children are trafficked to the US, Europe and the Middle East to either work as prostitutes or in other modern slavery. Children as young as 3 are engaged in the fishing industry, forced to do hard and dangerous work to earn a profit for their masters in the coastal communities. Project manager at the International Organization for Migration, Alexander Billings, is worried about Ghana's situation.
Ghanaians are being exploited in Ghana, and this, of course, is probably the most prevalent or common phenomenon, manifestation of trafficking. So, and it's usually children that are involved in this. So, especially in Volta region, Central region, and Greater Accra, we see children that are being exploited mostly for labor.
A standard operation procedure has been launched in Accra to enable stakeholders track the situation in the country.
What this is basically, it's a roadmap for addressing this issue and combating trafficking, but it's not enough. What really needs to happen is implementation of the standards and the guidelines that we've all come together to endorse and say this is what we hope to do. But no, the document alone will not do anything. It takes people.
Human trafficking is a global concern as over 40 million people worldwide are in modern slavery, 152 million in child labor. The IOM said it has 90,000 human trafficking cases in its database.
It's now time for MTN Video Reports, and Gabriel Osei Adomako reports on the bad nature of roads at Bukom Estate F-line in the Ashanti region.
This is the nature of road at Bukom F-line Estate. This estate was established by the administration of General Kutu Echampon over 3 decades ago. It has not seen any major improvement as far as road network is concerned. Question people are asking is that when will Bukom Road be fixed? The situation has compelled the saloon cars and the taxi drivers to ply an alternative route, of which economically is affecting them. From Bukom Estate, this is Gabriel Osei Adomako reporting for TV3.
Well, you can also send your very own video via our WhatsApp number, which is 0551 433044. 0551 433044. You're still watching Middaylive. Please do stay. Thanks for staying. Let's focus on healthcare, and the National Health Insurance Scheme remains a veritable source of financial access to quality healthcare for residents in Ghana. However, increasing cost of healthcare is impacting negatively on the scheme. Managers of the scheme have proposed additional sources of funding to enable sustained access to healthcare for the vulnerable. The key question is, what ought to be done to ensure sustainability? And joining me this afternoon in the studio is Kwamina Amwesi Ando. He is a health insurance expert. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time.
Yes.
Now, with your experience, this is not the very first time the conversation has come up. Yes. What exactly should we do to revamp the scheme?
Thank you very much. What's your name?
Wendy.
Wendy, thank you very much. The health insurance scheme in Ghana faces 3 major problems. The first one is the debt. It's debt ridden. And the last time I had a program with the scheme manager here in this studio, he said that the situation is so bad that it can collapse. You know that when this government took over in January 2017, they had 11 months debt arrears, which were not paid, and it was about 1.5 billion. People were saying 1.2, but it's about 1.5 billion. Then the whole of 2017 is gone. We are now in 2018. So they paid up to about September 20 for the 2016, and then they started 2017, and they are now around June, July for 2017, and 2018 hasn't been touched at all. If you put all of them together, it's about it's over 1 billion still being owed, and it's very, very serious.
You talk about debt, you also want to mention on design and then the efficiency of the program.
Yes, so the debt is the major immediate problem, and the solution is that, first of all, how did the debt come? And it's also come out of the design, because the design is very bad in such a way that the earliest you can pay for a claim from the provider is about 3-4 months, minimum 3-4 months, because he said that you pay in 90 days, and 90 days is too long, especially when you are using a very efficient claim management system, and you wait for 90 days. By the time the one who received the treatment is gone, and they don't have a robust system of tracing the one who has received, and therefore sitting at the computer and doing claim management, your best place will be. I don't want to talk about other things, but we have heard people who have made a software system of over $100 million. It's baffling. I mean, I don't want to mention money, but less than $10 million, you'll be able to do a serious, robust claim management system for Ghana. But that will also work based on the design. If the design is not good, no matter the type of claim management system, it will not make it work.
Would you blame managers?
No, the design managers inherit, but the initial design is wrong, because we are managing.
I'm asking because
we are managing one huge national social health insurance scheme. It has never worked in any country.
As we delve into the insurance and upward review of this levy, if you put someone in charge and the person knows that yes, these are challenges that have to be dealt with, but doesn't put enough effort to bring about that change, are we going to make any
I have met Dr. No here. It's not a matter of effort.
I'm not just
but
blaming him alone.
No, the management is there. But you are managing something which is not manageable in any country. You cannot be efficient. In fact, what we are doing is that we are putting water in a basket, and it's all continue to leak. So they are talking about increasing the premium. Fine, it's nice, because we know that it's underfunded, but no amount of money we put in, it will leak out because of the design. Now,
the upward review, are you for it?
I'm for it only when we design properly, because as I said, we put in more money, because the premiums they are paying is ridiculous. So I am for it. But if we put it in this scheme, it will still leak out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. This afternoon, I have been speaking with a health insurance expert on the insurance scheme we have here in the country, Kwamina Amoisi Ando. We're grateful for your time. Let's move on to other stories. And the Ghana National Association of Private Schools has bemoaned the introduction of government's free senior high school policy, which it says has led to the collapse of some 23 private senior high schools in the country. There are about 200 private schools across the country, but the association said the free SHS program has drastically reduced enrollment in private senior high schools. And this afternoon, joining me is Naftali Che Bafo, who speaks for the Conference of Heads of Second Cycle Schools. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Now, can you confirm if indeed 23 schools are folded up?
That is understated. I feel we should have more.
But you haven't done any research to indeed...
We can't really confirm that for now, let's be honest, but we feel we should have more. And very soon, we are going to issue a statement and state to most of the schools. We have some schools we can confirm.
Which are?
We have some in the Volta region. Dora Senior High School has collapsed. We have some Jabez in the Central region, and more from other regions like Ashanti region have all collapsed. But we feel that maybe by 2020, looking at how the whole pace by 2020, we should have more than about 60% collapsing totally. The rest will be on the verge of collapse. Let's establish that. The reason why some of them have not totally collapsed is that as we speak, they still have the third years in school right in the May, June. Second year will soon resume, but there is no first year because we did not receive students for first year.
In all the schools?
In most of the schools, not all schools, in most of the schools, they did not receive students for first year. No school apparently even received a student posted by the CSSPS. So any school that has first year student, automatically student.
Parents are not willing to bring their wards to your schools.
Come again?
Parents are not willing to bring their wards to your schools.
This is simply because students have already all been posted. You understand?
Right.
Gone were the days it was not like that. But now everybody has been posted.
When this issue came up, your institution mentioned that you were going to have some talks with government. What happened to that situation?
Fortunately, we had the opportunity of speaking with government even before the whole thing was enrolled somewhere in May, and the whole thing started in September. We were only shocked when we realized that we're not still captured in the whole package. So we still had to fight on. We still made another presentation just I think somewhere in February, and which was too late for that of the 2017. So we are only hoping that, let's granted that the 2017 system was just some piloting system, let's only hope that that of 2018 will be captured, because if it doesn't happen, so the kind of repercussion, the effect will be massive.
So what next? In trying to hope that it doesn't repeat itself, what next are you doing?
It is still a matter of still consistently negotiating with government and making our case clear that it's high time government looks at the whole system holistically. Let me still emphasize that the policy itself is not being condemned by the Conference of Heads of Private Secondary Schools. No, it is good in itself, but the implementation, we feel we should take cognizance of the implementation in the sense that it can still be operated in incorporating that of the private senior high schools in the system. We are talking of NHIS right here. Is the same thing happening? People have cats, they still go to private hospitals. It is working. Why can't it work when it comes to private senior high schools?
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Naphtali Cheba, he speaks for the Conference of Heads of Second Cycle Schools. We're grateful for your time. You're still watching Midday Live, and the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD, has expressed concerns over staff strength at the presidency. The presidency submitted a list of 998 persons at the presidency, comprising civil servants, presidential staffers, and technical advisors. The CDD, again, in a statement, urges Parliament in the immediate term to review the list submitted by the presidency and demand additional information and clarity as to the precise roles and duties, as well as require a disclosure of the salaries and emoluments attached to the listed positions. In the medium to long term, CDD Ghana urged Parliament to review the Presidential Act along with the Civil Service Act as amended, with a view on depopulating the presidency. This is still Midday Live. To some other stories, and former President John Agyekum Kufuor has called on the management of tertiary institutions to increase the relevance of their curricula through the adoption of new approaches. He was speaking at the doctoral graduation ceremony of the Noble International Business School here in Accra.
International Business School is one of the tertiary institutions nurturing quality professionals and doctors to be deployed into the economy. At the fourth doctoral education of the Noble International Business School in Accra, former President John Agyekum Kufuor said tertiary education globally require faculty members to be both academically prepared and professionally abreast with current trends.
There is the need for tertiary institutions to increase the relevance of their curricula through the introduction of new approaches that pedagogically satisfy academicians and at the same time meet practitioners' needs.
The president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Professor Kwame Bosiako Omanienchi, underscored the need for professionals to be innovative to contribute towards economic transformation.
Imagination, creativity, and innovation are not properly encouraged or facilitated in teaching approaches. We need a paradigm shift in our system of lecturing and learning. And this is why I find myself to be in sync with the vision and philosophy underpinning the establishment of NIPS.
13 students graduated with doctoral degrees, including the Minister of Business Development, Mohammed Awal, while the others were awarded certificates.
Next, we have business. Many businesses have seen government has been challenged to create an enabling environment for the country's agribusiness sector to thrive. Now, at the launch of the 8th pre-harvest agribusiness event in Accra, coordinator of the Sustainable Food Systems at the World Food Programme said the growth of the sector should position the economy in the course of industrialization.
Pre-Harvest Agribusiness Conference and Exhibition organized by the Food and Agriculture Ministry with support from the USAID and Agri-House Foundation is to ensure that all the actors in the chain business adopt best practices. Coordinator of the Sustainable Food Systems at the United Nations World Food Programme, Nanya Kai, entreated actors in agribusiness to adopt appropriate technology and infrastructure to transform the sector by increasing productivity.
To improve supply chain, to connect inputs to farms and on to storage, processing, transportation, distribution to consumers, in order to increase productivity and income for smallholder farmers in Ghana.
Minister of State in charge of Agriculture, Dr. Noura Jile, expressed government's resolve to support efforts at growing the sector through its poverty reduction drive.
Considering the strategic importance of the program to our national goal of sufficiently feeding our nation and diversifying our economy, we should be getting more involved than that. We will need to increase both public and private sector investments in the agricultural sector to generate significant gains in productivity, employment, and poverty reduction.
Former First Lady Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings entreated stakeholders to critically address post-harvest losses. Other stakeholders underscored the need for private sector investments to grow the agribusiness sector.
And that's all for business this afternoon. We have more. Do stay. Thanks for staying. You're still watching Middaylive. To a trending story straight to the Ashanti region, and the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit of the Ashanti Regional Police Command has arrested 2 officers at the Department of Social Welfare in connection with the baby theft. The 2 officers, 58-year-old Samuel Obinyefiye and 41-year-old Jemima Alangia, are alleged to have stolen a 1-day-old baby from the biological mother at a maternity home in Kumasi. Ashanti Regional Correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar has been speaking with the Regional Police PRO, DSP Juliana Obing.
On the 6th of April, we arrested 2 suspects in connection with the stealing of a day-old baby here in Kumasi. These 2 persons are one Samuel Obinyefiye, who is 58 years. He's a Justice Administration Officer with the Social Welfare Department. And one Evelyn Jemima Alangia, who is 41 years, who is a probation officer. We had arrested these suspects in connection with stealing of a day-old baby at a private maternity home here in Kumasi, which happened on the 11th of January 2018. Police investigations has revealed that the complainant, who is unemployed and a native of Laura in the Upper West region, got pregnant sometime in 2017 but was neglected by her boyfriend at that time. And so during her pregnancy, when she got to the 9th month, she started soliciting for help for her to get a place to stay for her delivery, and then of course after delivery as well. So in her conversation, somebody advised or suggested that she goes to the Social Welfare Department for help. So on the 8th of January, she was directed to the department, Social Welfare Department for help, where she met one of the suspects, Madam Evelyn, who after listening to her, came together with her colleague, that's Mr. Obeng Efriye, who both listened to her and told her that, all right, she could take the number. Anytime she was in labor, she could call for the kind of help that she wanted. And so complainant did as was suggested or as was instructed by these two persons who work with the social services department.
So we'll bring you some more of that story in our subsequent bulletins. Next, we have sports.
The sports segment is brought to you by
Hi, good afternoon. It's time to do sports here on Midday Live. My name is Yao Ofosulabi. Now to the trending story in Ghana at the moment. And George Efriye was sacked as vice president of the Ghana Football Association after a fallout with the body's president, Kwesi Nyantakyi. The executive committee, of which George Efriye is a part of, met on Tuesday afternoon and unanimously agreed to remove him after Western Regional FA chairman Kojo Yanka claimed the strained relationship between him and Kwesi Nyantakyi was unhealthy for the running of football in Ghana. Editor of Sports here at TV3, Michael Otieje, explains the background and potential implications of the decision.
Finally, the gloves are off at the Ghana Football Association. George Efriye has been sacked as vice president a month after he openly declared he's interested in replacing his boss, Kwesi Nyantakyi. At that declaration, Efriye paid glowing tribute to his boss, but those in the know knew it would trigger a fresh round of politics at the GFA, and it has. First, executive committee members spoke of their displeasure at the announcement and charged that he had disrespected Nyantakyi and demanded an apology. None came. Then he was removed as chairman of the powerful Black Stars Management Committee. On Tuesday, the executive committee struck what is surely the final nail into the relationship between the pair by removing him as vice president in a unanimous vote that was tabled by Western Regional Football Association boss Kojo Yanka. There are those convinced the decision strengthens Efriye, that it allows him to distance himself from the failings of Nyantakyi whilst projecting him as a new man for Ghana football. The problem for Efriye is that those who voted to oust him are highly influential members of the larger Congress, which will vote for the GFA presidency later. There are suggestions Nyantakyi will contest the GFA president again because, quote, those within football want him to. The decision to fire George Efriye may then have fired the starting gun for an intriguing presidential race between friends yesterday and enemies now. Get set for an intriguing battle.
Well, it's certainly an intriguing battle, but still staying on the issue, former Vice President of the Ghana Football Association, Fred Papo, says Efriye's sacking has been a long time coming and that he's not surprised at the Executive Committee's actions. He spoke to my colleague Thierry Nyan last night on Sports Unlimited.
Well, I must say I wasn't entirely surprised, even though I find the decision a bit unfortunate and ill-timed. As a matter of fact, we all know, if you followers of the trend of football administration at the upper levels of the presidency, would observe that at least for quite some time now, starting from over a year now, in the period before the World Cup 2014, when the Black Stars were in the U.S., we kept hearing rumors and very, very strong facts about a rift or some kind of frostiness in the relationship between the president and his vice. You realize that you are sitting there on the emergency committee virtually at the pleasure of one individual. So you dare not speak your mind, you dare not say things which you perceived could potentially make a few people or certain persons unhappy.
Right, so Mohamed Salah there showing his worth in the UEFA Champions League. But just a brief one, Salah has played 47 goals in the season and has scored 43 goals with 13 assists. And he hasn't won any trophies yet. Now, a lot of comparisons have been drawn between himself and Lionel Messi. Messi has played 50 games, scored 40 goals and a total assist rate of 18 and has already won one trophy, the Copa del Rey in Spain. So the talk is still ongoing. But if Mohamed Salah is able to win the UEFA Champions League, then he will reign supreme over the Argentine. My name is Yao Ofosulabi, and that's how we end the sports bulletin. There will be more sports news in our subsequent bulletins.
Thanks for staying. You're still watching Midday Live. We have now some international news.
Mass graves have been discovered in Rwanda 24 years after the country's genocide left about 800,000 people dead. Locals believe that graves contain the remains of close to 3,000 people who went missing in their area during the genocide. Their discovery comes just a week after an official mourning period for the victims of one of the world's worst modern-day tragedies. Volunteers have been spearheading the excavation this week after they were told of the location by a woman who said she had seen bodies dumped there more than 2 decades ago. Relatives of genocide victims have also been sifting through the site looking for any signs their loved ones might have been buried there. But the discovery has also raised questions in the Rwandan media about why the people who knew about these sites did not reveal the existence all this time. The head of Spain's Madrid region has stepped down amid shoplifting allegations, weeks after being accused of faking a master's degree. A video has emerged from 2011 allegedly showing Cristina Cifuentes handing items to a supermarket security guard. It is claimed she had taken 2 pots of anti-aging cream. She was then number 2 in the Madrid assembly. She gave up her master's last week when it emerged that 2 signatures on the document were forged. A prominent figure in Spain's ruling centre-right party, PP, Partido Popular, Ms. Cifuentes, had already come under pressure from political opponents to resign because of the degree affair. She said on Wednesday she had planned to announce her resignation next week, but had brought it forward in response to the latest allegations. She condemned the video that appeared on OK Diario website on Wednesday as a campaign of harassment aimed at bringing her down.
We have entertainment.
Because it wasn't fair.
Now, entertainment this afternoon. Ghanaian playwright Lateef Abubakar has over the years promoted societal change through drama on issues such as non-violence, first aid and galamsey. His latest play, Men Don't Die, champions another pertinent topic, which is road safety. The menace has claimed lives including top celebrities and breadwinners, and the list is endless, from the unknowns to the knowns, such as Kwame Owusu-Ansah, Terry Bonchaka, Susie Williams and dancehall sensation Ebony. Supported by the National Road Safety Commission, Men Don't Die educates Ghanaians on the causative and preventive measures of road accidents. The stage play features performers like Ajite Anan and Echo Smith Asante. And joining me is the man himself, Lateef Abubakar. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for your time. You always have something new coming up. What really is the driving force behind this play?
I chanced upon some statistics at the National Road Safety Commission, and it was horrifying. I felt that no, this shouldn't happen to us as a country or as a society, having about 1,800 people dying out of road accidents each year, and then 4 per day. It's something that the most important thing is they are even preventable road accidents. So it struck me, and I felt that okay, once we have decided to take the path of social change, then this is some of the issues we should tackle, because our aim in doing drama is to be able to educate people through our productions.
Now, why should I come and watch, or why should a viewer out there watch? How different is your works from that of others, even though we look at social change?
Yeah, I mean, aside the educative bit, our plays are very, very hilarious. They're entertaining. So this is edutainment. We try to make people happy. We try to put smiles on the faces of people. At the end of the day, we educate you too as well. So for those who have watched our plays, I mean, they always won't miss anytime they hear our Glow production coming up with a new play. We started with an audience base of about 150 people in a 1,500 auditorium. We are now attracting about 5,000 people for 4 shows. And most of these people coming come based on word of mouth. Just because, one, they've watched before, their friends or relatives have watched, and then they are informing them. So it tells you how good the product is.
And you have some very known individuals.
Yes.
The Echo Smith, Asante, Ajite Anan. But Any new entrants and any other persons we don't know about?
I think what we do actually is to promote the young ones. 70 to 80% of our cast and crew are up and coming actors and actresses. We give them the platform. What we actually do is that we bring the experienced ones just to beef up the team, so that the younger ones can learn from the experienced ones, to give the younger ones also an opportunity. So there we have someone like Obi Black, who is also doing well in some series. She's actually a very good actress on stage. We have Mark Pratt, who has performed in almost all my plays. I mean, in terms of the comedy role. This time around, people are going to see him in a different particular role, in a different role altogether. But the truth of the matter is that those unknown ones also are part of the reason why Globe Productions are surviving. It's surviving as of now.
Now, venue, dates,
Conference
time.
Center, 28th, 29th. We do 2 shows a day, 4 p.m., 8 p.m. I mean, you can grab your tickets at Kuala, Airport Shell, Bachona, Total, and then even at the venue, Conference Center.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And you're doing this with the Road Safety Commission as well?
Yes, please. They actually gave us the facts and figures we're using for this particular play.
Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
I have been speaking to Lateef Abubakar. He's a playwright, so watch out for his play, Men Don't Die, Don't Miss It. And that'll be all for this afternoon. Before we wrap up, let's take a quick run through our headlines for this afternoon. And malaria continues to top OPD cases in most health facilities. So we told you more about it, and as Ghana joined the world to mark the Malaria Day, and 23 private senior high schools fold up. That we did an interview on, and the authorities in charge are also saying they're yet to confirm that owing to the free SHS policy. Former Kokobo CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni's accounts frozen. We also did an interview on that, spoke to one of his lawyers and legal team. They're yet to receive some information on that. And on the international front, mass graves discovered in Rwanda 24 years after the country's genocide left about 800,000 people dead. My name is Wendy Lai. You do have a lovely afternoon. Thank you so much for watching Midday Live. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Thanks for watching.